Gibson. We wrote this together about 6 or 7 years ago. It's a book called The Other Side, A Teen's Guide to Ghost Hunting and the Paranormal.
A Teen's Guide?
A Teen's Guide to Ghost Hunting and the Paranormal. My wife wrote a fictional novelization, a series called The Ghost Huntress. It's sort of a modern twist on Nancy Drew mysteries. Nancy Drew meets ghost hunters, quite frankly. And she and her publisher came up with this idea to write a nonfiction companion to her series because of all the programs that were coming out. You have Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures. We wanted to make sure, or rather Marley and her agent thought it would be a good idea to get the next generation of ghost hunters started on the right foot and sort of show them some do's and don'ts that we've learned over the ways. And a lot of it is common sense in the book. Don't trespass, don't go out on an investigation while you're intoxicated. A lot of it is common sense like that, but a good portion of the book, probably 95% of the book, is some of the techniques that we've learned over the years. How to record EVP, how to secure a location before you begin an investigation.
After you've had a successful investigation, then you need drinks.
Exactly. Hold off on the spirits until after the ghosts, right?
Yes. Okay. So you've been at this for a long time.
Quite a while. In different capacities. My journey, my brushing with the paranormal 30 years ago did not mean I started off investigating. I started, I started studying up on the sort of thing. I started reading about topics more and more. My first real brush with the paranormal happened about 1989. And my brothers had a tavern down in Chicago that I helped them manage and run. And it was an old building. The building dated back, I believe, to at least the 1880s. And it was one of the few buildings in that area that was not claimed by the Great Chicago Fire. And I would help them out. I wasn't old enough to tend bar at that time, but I would help them out by cleaning the bar after it closed. So I would be alone in the bar. We lived in the apartment upstairs from it. I lived downstairs, or I would be downstairs in the bar by myself for several hours cleaning up, and I always felt like somebody was watching me. I always had this weird feeling that somebody was watching me. And one night I was sitting at the bar. I was having a Coke, taking a break, and I was turned sideways, facing down the bar. And of course, we had mirrors behind the bar where the top shelf liquor was kept. And in the mirror, in my peripheral vision, I saw very clearly the apparition of a man looking back at me, a reflection. And he looked to be Latino male, long, dark, kind of greasy black hair. He had a very thin mustache and a goatee. And I saw him. Of course, I turned to look, and there was nothing there. And I thought, I'm really losing my mind tonight, right? And so I kind of gave it no real thought. And a couple of weeks later, I had a friend of mine, Gene, was in the bar with me one evening. He was helping me clean up. I was in a band at the time, and I think we had some recording studio time, so he was helping me get done with my job early so we could get out of there. He was sitting in the exact same chair that I had been that night. Now, I haven't told anybody about this encounter. And as we're sitting there talking, all of a sudden he stops. He starts looking behind the bar, back and forth. And I said, what? He said, I could have sworn I saw somebody in the mirror there, a reflection of somebody looking at me. And I said, describe it. He said, it looked like a Mexican male. I said, wow, thank you. Okay, I'm not losing my mind, right? Now it gets even more interesting. I dated a girl for a short period of time who claimed to be a psychic medium. And this is before I really knew anything about that. I don't know if I really believed her or if I thought she was a little loopy, maybe a little bit of both. But we stepped onto the property one night. She was coming over to visit me, and we went in the back gate on the back of the property. And the second she crossed the threshold of the property, the second she stepped through the gate, she shrieked. And I said, what? She said, somebody was murdered here. I said, what? She said, I see this clear as day in my eye. I can see it. At least one person, maybe even two, at least one person. She said it was horrible. I thought, okay, hadn't heard anything about this before, and I kind of dismissed it. And then finally, this is where everything, all the dots, we lived next door, 2 doors down from a convenience store. And I was in there early in the morning one night, And the sales clerk was an older gentleman named Charles, and he and I were chatting one night. And he said, "Boy, you and your brothers, you've really done the number with that bar. You've really turned it into something really nice and classy and special." He said, "I remember this neighborhood when it was predominantly Latino, and he said it was a rough neighborhood back in the '70s." And he said, "I'll never forget the night that those two guys shot each other in the bar." I said, "What?" He said, "Oh yeah, it was all over the news that they each pulled a gun on each other, boom, boom, shot each other dead right there in the he said there were police cars all over the place, all over the news." So the points connect, the circle becomes complete at that point, and I was like, wow, unbelievable. All these elements connect together, and finally you have a complete picture.
All right, Patrick, let me ask you this. Do you think that a ghost is, in fact, definitely something that was at one time human, or is it possible we're dealing with a combination of things that we don't know about?
I think it's absolutely possible that it's a combination of things. I know some people look at demons, possibly. I'm not. I don't know. I think that the whole demon element in the paranormal is really kind of overplayed. A lot of people go in and they assume that because something bad happens, somebody gets shoved or somebody gets scratched, that they automatically attribute anything that's unpleasant to demonic activity.